everybody, it's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for some bookish awards for 2022. This is the first time that I'm going to be doing a video like this and I'm really excited. So yeah, that's the plan. I've seen a few different people over the years do this kind of video and I've never done it myself, but in the lead up to Christmas I've been watching some of these as they've come out and decided that actually it looked like a lot of fun. So I've got some inspiration from a few different booktubers. G from Book Roast, I watched Emily Fox, I watched Reagan from Peru's Project. I will link all of them down below so you can go and check them out. You would have heard of most of these people, I'm sure. They're all quite big and fantastic booktubers. But yeah, that's where a lot of the inspiration has come from. Particularly the first person I mentioned, G from Book Roast. I actually borrowed quite a few of the categories from her. So thank you so much, G. That's really been amazing and helpful, and I hope you don't mind me borrowing these categories. So like I said, I thought this looked like a lot of fun to do. I thought that New Year's Day would be a really fun time to do a book awards. Basically, I picked a bunch of different categories that I'm then going to choose a book that fits that category that I read throughout the year. I will also be putting up a favourite book of the year video where I talk through the 12 plus a few extra books that I have loved the most for every month throughout 2022, so last year technically when you're seeing this, but anyway, so keep your eyes on that. Not all of the books that are going to be in this video will be in those best of, that's not kind of how it all worked out, but it's just a way to share some of the books I've really enjoyed, maybe some books I haven't loved so much, and yeah, share my experiences, my bookish experience, my reading experiences for 2022. I also am going to be doing a video where I talk about all the books that I did not finish throughout the year because there are a few that I DNF'd, so I'll be talking through those and why I didn't like them. But yeah, the plan, like I've said a few times now, is to give out some book awards for this year. So the first category that I have to give out is the most surprising book that I read in 2022. The book I've selected as the most surprising book will not be a surprise to any of you, I would imagine, because it is Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman. So the reason I've selected this one is because it was a surprise to me. The surprising thing about it was the actual story and what was actually happening in the story. So I've talked about this a few different times, but effectively you are reading this book and you think you've kind of got a handle on what actually is going on, what they're talking about, what the theme of the book is, and then halfway through the book something is revealed and you suddenly realize you have not understood a single thing about what was actually being talked about, and it's an entirely different story to what you thought it was. I thought that was done incredibly well. I did not see it coming. Some other people did see it coming or kind of had more inklings of it, but I just did not see it coming. Once I figured it out, I was able to go back and look at some of the things that were little hints and kind of go, oh, yep, okay. But I didn't see it coming, and yeah, it really surprised me in a really good way. I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Some really interesting stuff being talked about around colonization, racism, and yeah. But it was in a really fun, really interesting setting. So I would highly recommend you pick this book up. But yeah, that was the most surprising book for 2022. The next category is the most disappointing book that I read in 2022. And for this one, unfortunately, the book is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I didn't absolutely hate this book. I did give it 3 stars. So it was very much a middle of the road book for me, but the reason why it was the most disappointing book of 2022 is that I had been hearing so many amazing things about this book and I had such high expectations. I'd heard it compared to The Night Circus so many times and I love The Night Circus. So I was really expecting to really enjoy the book, and I just didn't love it. Like I said, I gave it 3 stars. I could definitely see why people enjoyed it. It wasn't that it was badly written. It just wasn't that amazing. I just kind of was like, whatever, and I'm definitely not continuing with the series. I'm not interested. That was enough for me. I have no particular interest in any of the other books that she's come out with recently, so yeah, definitely Caraval was the most disappointing book for me in 2022. The next category I have is prettiest cover, and the award for that one goes to Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. Do I need to explain why this is one of the prettiest covers in the entire world, let alone that I read in 2022? Just look at it. It's absolutely stunning. It just blows me away. Every time I look at it, I think it's amazing, and yeah, far and away the most beautiful book that I read this year, which is saying a lot because I've read a lot of really pretty books this year. Daughter of the Moon Goddess just had to have it. Next up is the category most impactful book that I read in 2022. So what I mean here is the book that had the most impact on me, that made me think the most, that made me change my opinion or caused me to know something I hadn't known before, something along those lines. I could have gone easily with Terra Nullius. It was definitely impactful, but I think because it was so surprising, so that's why it got that particular award. The book that I am actually going to give this award to is Sugar by Carly Nugent. This is a young adult contemporary, and it is about a young woman who has a lot of different things going on in her life, and one of those things is that approximately a year prior to the book starting, she was diagnosed with diabetes. Now, diabetes is a thing that I have known about for a long time, but I never really understood exactly what happened when you had diabetes or how much it could affect someone's life. And this book made me see that diabetes is actually a really intense condition and can have a really intense effect on your life and can be really dangerous. And those are all things that I didn't actually realize. And I feel like diabetes is one of those conditions that is so widely known of, but so widely either not understood or misunderstood. And I just felt like this book was a really, really eye-opening experience figuring that out and learning some stuff about what it's like to live with diabetes. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, and I just thought it was a really impactful book, so that is why I've chosen it. The next category that I'm going to award is the most unique book that I read in 2022. This award is going to quite an old backlist book. It is going to Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency by Douglas Adams. I think that Douglas Adams has a very unique sense of humour, a very unique way of looking at the world, and a really, really unique and interesting storytelling approach. This is probably less well known than the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, but it still features that kind of irreverent humour, that kind of off-the-wall, offbeat, slightly odd kind of British humour. I think that you need to kind of be prepared to find it quite strange and not 100% sure understand what's happening, but just go along for the ride and just enjoy yourself as you are being, thrown into this completely chaotic world that is Dirk Gently's world. So for that reason, I could not give this award to any other book other than Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. The next award is for the most enjoyable book that I've read in 2022. This is a difficult one because I've really enjoyed most of the books that I've read this year, and in fact, even the books that I gave lower ratings, I really haven't gone any lower than 2.5 stars, which I think is pretty amazing, and I think it means that I've read some really fantastic books. But I am going to give one book the award for most enjoyable, and that is Jingo by Terry Pratchett. The reason I'm giving Jingo this award is because Terry Pratchett's one of my favourite authors. I have read a number of the Discworld books a number of times. Jingo is one of my favourite books of all time, and it's difficult to say this as well, but I'm pretty sure it is my favourite Discworld novel. I just really, really enjoy it, and I read it again this year, and I just really had a great time. It's so much fun to dive into a favourite book from a favourite author and just re-experience something that you love. So I had to give it to a reread, and that is Jingo by Terry Pratchett. The next award is going to my favourite character that I read from in 2022. I'm going for a character that I've read a number of times in a number of different novels as well, and that is Mary Russell. Mary Russell is the main character of the Mary Russell series by L'Oreal King. I've spoken about this series quite a few times on my channel before. It is a Sherlock Holmes retelling, and it features Mary Russell as the main character, like I said, and her point of view is the point of view that we follow. And Mary Russell is the apprentice slash business partner to Sherlock Holmes, who has retired. And yeah, it's just fantastic. I absolutely love this series. I absolutely love Mary Russell as a character. She is so intelligent. She is so forthright. She is so feisty. She's so tough. She's just such an amazing character and amazingly well written. So I had to give it to Mary Russell. Next award is going to my lowest rated book. So this is the book that I rated the lowest throughout 2022. And the book is Up on Horseshoe Hill by Penelope Jarnew. This is a book that I read really recently. I ended up only giving it 2.5 stars. I just didn't really love it. As you can tell, it was okay, but I didn't really believe in the romance, and I just didn't really have that much connection or interest in the characters. So this is a contemporary romance set in Australia over Christmas, so set in summer over Christmas. That is the reason why I read it, and yeah, unfortunately, it just didn't do it for me. The next award is going to be the highest rated book that I read in 2022, and it may surprise you because I have not spoken very much about this book, but the highest rating that I gave this year, I will have to double check this, but 9.49 I think it was, and that went to Galatea by Madeline Miller. It is a very tiny, it's barely even a book, it's a short story really, it's like 40 pages long, but it was just so good, so interesting, so much was said. I love the character of Galatea, and yeah, it was just a fantastic, especially given how small it was, how much she was able to pack in there. It was just unbelievable. I love Madeline Miller's writing style. That is the third story that I've read from her, the third Greek myth retelling that I've read from her, and I absolutely loved every single thing. So yeah, that was my highest rated book. The next award that I'm going to be handing out today is for Best Adaptation. This will not be even the slightest bit surprising to anybody who has been around for even the tiniest length of time, because my favourite adaptation that I watched / read this year was Heartstopper. So, unlike almost everyone else who has been raving about Heartstopper, the graphic novels, for years and years and years, I did not read the graphic novels until this year, and I only read them, or I'd actually read, I think, half the first volume about a year or two ago. Yeah, but until I had watched the adaptation, I hadn't gone through and read all the graphic novels. I have now all the ones that are currently written. It may just be that I actually watched the TV show before I read the graphic novels. I'm not sure, but I kind of prefer the adaptation. I still love the graphic novels. I still think they're absolutely amazing, but I slightly prefer the adaptation. It was absolutely the best adaptation that I've watched this year in 2022, and I just think it's amazing. So of course it had to be getting that award. Following on from that, I have got a non-bookish award in here, and that is for the best TV show that I watched throughout 2022. Now, this is actually an adaptation as well, but I haven't read the source material. So my favourite TV show that I watched full, there are quite a few TV shows that I've really enjoyed that I haven't watched all of as of yet, but the favourite TV show that I watched, what is currently out anyway, in full in 2022 is Sandman. This is based on the graphic novel series by Neil Gaiman, who I absolutely love, but I'm not a huge graphic novel reader, I never have been. I'm trying to change that, and I've started getting into graphic novels a lot more recently, but that's the main reason why I haven't read them. At some point I will read them, but anyway, I couldn't put it in as adaptation because I don't know how it compares, but I absolutely love the TV show, so it is the favourite TV show that I watched, like I said, in full in 2022. The rest of the awards goes for the best of a particular category or genre. So first category that I have there is the best historical fiction that I read throughout the year, and that is The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. Absolutely loved this, thought it was absolutely fantastic, really enjoyed the writing style, the characters, the feminism, just thought it was really interesting. So definitely a favourite of the year. The next category is contemporary women's fiction romance, and the best of that category that I read in 2022 is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. Thought it was amazing, loved the characters again, just thought it was a really interesting, well-written book, and yeah, extremely glad that I'm starting to get more into romance, and I really enjoyed this one. Next category is sci-fi / speculative, and the best book that I read in that category this year was Cytonic. Now, in fairness, it's not a category that I've read a lot from, but I've read a few, and yeah, Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson is the best. Really enjoying this series, think it's really interesting. Lots of conversation around philosophy and the way we view the world and the way we view who we are and what humanity is. Just find it really interesting and really fun. Next category is mystery thriller, and the award for best mystery thriller that I read this year goes to The Killing Code by Ellie Marnie. Absolutely fantastic historical fiction mystery thriller / spy kind of novel. Really enjoyed it. Really well written. I love Ellie Marnie's writing style. I think she does so much research and she just works so hard and just is an amazing writer. I love the characters in this one, and yeah, it was definitely my favourite mystery thriller book. And then the final category is, of course, fantasy. Fantasy would have to be my most read genre, so it's quite difficult to choose a best book out of all the fantasies that I read in 2022. But the book that I settled on was The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. I just really enjoyed this book. Everything about it I really loved. I love the writing style, I love the characters, I thought the premise was really interesting, I thought that it was well written, I thought the premise was followed through on really well, and yeah, I just thought it was really fun. I was a little bit surprised, I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, which I think definitely adds to the enjoyment factor. But yeah, 100% had to give best fantasy for 2022 that I read was 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. So those are all the awards. That is all the awards that I had to give out today. All the books that I thought deserved all those awards. Please comment below if you agreed with my choices, disagreed with my choices, are sad about any of my choices, are really happy about any of my choices. Comment anything that you would like to let me know about in the comments below. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me something New Year-ish, because it is of course New Year's Day. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.